We're live.
Yeah.
Live for a short time due to technical difficulties.
We're
Our
live.
phone's
We
about
got
to
some
die.
technical difficulties. My phone is low on batteries. I still have to figure out this exposure lock.
We're figuring things out, guys. This is jiu-jitsu. You try, you fail, you try again.
Doing my best.
We're doing our best. I think you're doing a good job, man.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Thanks, man. So I recently celebrated a birthday. I've turned the ripe age of 46, and I thought we should address what it's like. Wait, am I connected? Let's see here.
More technical difficulties.
Okay, we're good. Yeah, I thought I should address just the idea that things change when you get older.
That's true.
And this is a strenuous sport. And injuries come, and they come more and more often, and they can come easier, and flexibility and strength go a little bit, recovery goes a little bit.
Especially you got like life responsibilities stacking up.
Yeah. You know, I got family, and
Family.
I got a job.
Yeah, a couple jobs.
Yeah, I got jobs, and
So sometimes rest and recovery get sacrificed, I imagine.
yeah. Those things, everything. Hold on, move this way slightly. Okay, I think we're good. Yeah, things take. Yeah, sometimes jiu-jitsu might take the back seat, and you have to consider this. You have to keep all these things in consideration. So, when training as an old man, and I'm sure like you're not an old man.
I've always felt like an old man.
Yeah, you're not an old man, but you're like the age when I started jiu-jitsu.
I am 32 years old
Yeah.
with the heart of a 70-year-old Chinese man.
Yeah.
Not the heart, the soul.
Yeah, so I started jiu-jitsu around that age, and I felt pretty good at that age, but I can imagine had I started earlier, I probably would have seen some changes, like if you started in your mid to early 20s.
Started when I was 21 years old, and I got back problems immediately. This is why I always felt very old. I was hobbling around. One time I had to leave class. I was at university at the time.
Yeah.
And I had to leave class to go stretch my back in the bathroom just because I couldn't concentrate. And so this is one thing I like about jiu-jitsu. I talk about this all the time. The risk of injury and the toughness on your body, you can use that opportunity to alchemize and to get way better. So since then, I've been doing a little bit of yoga every single morning. No more back problems. Tahric was always telling me, lift weights to get, how would you say, to armor your body.
Yeah, I call it
jiu-jitsu.
my suit of armor. I have no medical backing behind this, but I do know that at times where I am lifting, I'm definitely less prone to injury. If I'm consistently lifting, I feel strong, and things sometimes will bend, and I think, oh man, that's gonna hurt, and it doesn't. So for me, jiu-jitsu by itself is not enough. I try to always have weightlifting as a thing that I always do, and I think I preach it to everybody, even those people that I think should probably not do jiu-jitsu or would probably not enjoy jiu-jitsu. I always preach lift some weights or do some kind of resistance,
Protect your
push-ups,
body.
pull-ups. Yes.
Yeah.
So we have a list of what it's like or things to consider when training in jiu-jitsu as an older, I would say, let's say as a middle-aged adult, because there's if you're looking at the decades, there's quite a difference between what your body is like at 20 and 30. I would say the difference between 20 and 30 is not as different as between 30 and 40.
Really?
Yeah, I think I could definitely feel a difference. Like there was when I first started, I was using my strength a lot. I was able to not switch not sweep, reverse. So if somebody had me in side mount, I could kind of just push them over and send their legs over, which like I can't really do now, and I don't really want to. I don't want those twisting forces on my spine as much
By the way,
anymore.
is a move I could never do.
Yeah.
I've never had this option.
Something I used to do. And so the first piece of advice we have on our list is consult your doctor. I don't know about that.
Yeah, doctors.
I don't think you should. I mean, I'm not a doctor, obviously, so to say that you should not consult I wouldn't say you should not consult your doctor.
Yes.
But I would also say I don't think you need. I mean, do you consult your doctor before everything you do?
I don't have a doctor. What do you mean? Like we're in Taiwan, right?
First
we can
you
go to
have
the
a
hospital
doctor.
anytime. It doesn't cost, thousands of dollars like in America. But I know lots of friends who have gone to doctors for jiu-jitsu stuff, and the doctor always just tells them, don't train jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. The doctor
Which they have a fair point, right? Like if your goal is to not get catastrophically injured, like it makes sense. I see why they would say this. But I think there's other options. I think you can lift weights, you can do yoga, you can take care of your body in a way that you can also do jiu-jitsu, and you can train in safe ways, which is sometimes you don't train with certain people, sometimes you need to switch gyms, sometimes you need to try different places, and you need to take care of yourself first and foremost. And
doctors also err on the side of caution.
yeah, as they should.
Yeah,
and not much nuance.
Yeah, they're
not
not
much
gonna
personal
say.
nuance.
They're not gonna say, yeah, you're injured, but I think you could do that competition.
Yeah,
they're not gonna do that. So, but I mean, they are the experts. So
yeah. So if you've been in, like, for example, car accidents before, and then you want to do jiu-jitsu, doctor's a good idea. But if you're, just never had any catastrophic injuries, but maybe not in the best shape, the doctor will probably give those two people the same advice. And when there's a world of difference between those.
Yes.
So that's the concern.
Yes. As an older individual, it's also a good idea to choose the right gym. This is
like number one advice.
Especially if you have the luxury, if you live in a city where there are multiple gyms and you are able to actually try out gyms, that is a great position to be in. You could find out which gym has the right culture for you. You could find out if there's gyms that have other people that are around the same age as you, which make great training partners.
Huge.
You don't want to always be like, if you're an older guy, you don't necessarily want to go to a gym that is very old school and believes in just hard training all the time.
Yeah.
Every round is a fight, and that exists, and it has a place, especially for like some guys that are really into just banging it out and making it into competition really quick.
Yeah.
It's not really, I don't know if it would be a suggested path, even for somebody who is trying to compete, but there are schools like that.
It's a short-term strategy.
Yeah, it's very short-lived, and it's very you can get injured quite a bit, and you don't want to compete as far as toughness with a bunch of young, limber, strong bodies, because the reality is you got to go to work tomorrow.
Yeah, and not everyone does these days. A lot of like real high-level jiu-jitsu guys, they kind of have family support, or they have other things going on that are not applicable to everybody's life.
There's some kind of sponsorship. Their life, there are quite a few guys that will come through where their life is kind of sponsored.
Yeah.
Where
power to them. Enjoy.
They just travel and do jiu-jitsu, and they compete, and you may not I guess want to chase the same goals that they're after.
Yeah.
Start slowly.
Yeah.
That's another thing. If you have an athletic past, if you've been consistently exercising and staying fit, I think you can gauge your level and your pace better than some. But let's say you were athletic before and you've taken a lot of time off, and the bellies come, and you've been at the desk for a long time.
Posture's kind of suffered.
Yeah, you don't want to jump directly back in, because your mind, whatever you thought you were at the time, or whatever you thought you were before, you will not be the same thing now. And I have an experience of this when I was gonna do some sort of fitness test. This was like coming out of college. I swam as a kid, but I never really swam much as an adult. And so let's say 10 years had passed. I have this thought in my mind that I'm a good swimmer. And at the age of 25, with new height, new weight, new muscles, I just jumped into the deep end of a swimming pool, and I didn't drown, but I did struggle, and there was like a bit of panic because I felt heavy and everything wasn't as easy as I remembered. Like as a kid, you kind of just float around, and I remember like really struggling to get back to the side of the pool. And so yeah, whatever you remember your body as and how you experience an activity years ago, it changes constantly.
And so the jiu-jitsu equivalent might be like a guy who wrestled in high school and then went to college, didn't wrestle, got a job, comes to jiu-jitsu, he's 30 years old, hasn't wrestled in 12 years, goes straight into competition class, shoots a double leg, hurts his knee, the guy sprawls, hurts his neck. Now you're doing jiu-jitsu, you're panicking, you're not breathing. I've seen this happen again and again and again.
It's for sure a thing. And those guys, you will do better. Like you have a better base than most people, but you also still have to creep in. Like you have to
reintroduce your body to the training. You know, lots of your cells have been born without this training. They kind of remember, but they forgot.
Yes.
So you gotta go slow, go slow. Yeah. Everybody should come to jiu-jitsu and move slowly. I don't trust anybody who walks in the door ready to go. That's a weird sign.
The next one is, well, I don't do enough of this. I do the warming up and stretching. And I'm guilty of not stretching enough.
How's your yoga practice?
Yeah. There's no yoga practice. I'm guilty of not doing enough stretching. I do warm up. Like I am innocent. I am innocent of warming up. I do warm up. I will start off with warm up rounds. Even if the guy that I am rolling with is not warming up, I'm warming up. So if he wants to pass my guard and smash me and tap me, that's fine. If it's during my warm up time, I know it's not yet time to ramp up my movement to potentially get injured. So I know that.
And this is a hard thing for some guys, especially like we're brown belts, right? So if we're in a class and it's 10 rounds of rolling, like we did in 10th Planet Kotao, shout out. The first round we're supposed to flow, and my partner, he's this real tough blue belt, good friend of mine. And he's just going hard, right? And so there's an ego thing of like, oh, I'm the brown belt. Oh, I've been teaching here. I'm better than this guy, but he's going so hard, and I'm just not gonna play that game, right? And so I turtle, I give him my arm, and some people really struggle with this, you know, especially the belt discrepancies, the skill discrepancies. You know you could be winning, but you just give it to him. Just give it up, and that's really difficult for everybody, speaking from experience.
It's true. It is true. And I think that, over time, like now, I have a rule for myself. It doesn't matter. First, even second round, if I'm warming up and you're tapping me, I'm okay with it. I've actually, like, I don't know when I've crossed this line, but maybe it was getting my brown belt and getting tapped by blue belts, but but there's I just know like this is a long road, and even though if I leave the gym knowing that I had a bad round that I should have done better in, it will definitely bother me and I'll think about it, but at the same time I know this is a marathon. I've been in this since 2009. And what happens today is not the most important thing. The most important thing is if I could come back tomorrow. That is the most important thing. Yeah. And injuries do happen. Sometimes you will not be able to come back tomorrow.
And that's the worst.
And that is another very important thing. When you are injured, is to rest.
Yeah. So hard.
So during the last competition, right before the competition, I had paid for a month. I thought a month is safe. I'm not going to pay for 3 months if something bad
At the
happens.
gym, you mean?
Yeah, I paid for a month, but I didn't go. I didn't go for that month. That month just had to run out because I had like a little ouchie in my knee. But in the long run, it's not going to pay off for me to keep training through that injury. If rest is what's required, you just have to rest, and you just have to suck it up and say this is better in the long run.
Yeah,
so
that's real hard. You know, a lot of people come to jiu-jitsu for kind of a mental health aspect, right? Jiu-jitsu really gives them a good outlet, good community, and so I really feel for people who, because they got injury or they're sick, they can't go to jiu-jitsu, and now they're just at home like going crazy. And so it's really tricky to have something else to fall back on, right? So for me, I'm real lucky. I can go home and read a book and feel okay. I can meditate all night. Tahric, you got kids, man, so I imagine like, if you don't have...
that fills the social void. But I mean, that is a problem.
Doom scrolling on the phone.
Yeah. That is a problem with jiu-jitsu in that it is like, it's such a huge social network, but it requires physical fitness to be involved in that network.
Yeah.
Because realistically, there are only a certain number of times where you can just stop in at the gym and not be training before they're like, what are you doing here? Like,
well,
even nobody
Yeah.
nobody will say, what are you doing here? But I personally will feel out of place. I would feel out of place in that environment. And if I am injured, I'm going to feel compelled to push myself because I'm already there.
Yeah.
You know?
Especially your high level, so you're seeing someone doing a move wrong, like,
No,
I could take that
no,
guy.
not like that.
I could take that guy.
Yeah.
What am I doing? I'll just suit up and get warm, injure yourself more.
Yeah.
It's a vicious cycle.
Yes, and even beyond injury. So when we're talking about being older, recovery doesn't come as quickly and as easily. As I mentioned before, you want to exercise to aid in this process, but sometimes you just have to take a break, listen to yourself, listen to your body. Last week, I went to work. I brought my gi and everything with me, but then after work, I just said, you know what? No, not today. I'm going home.
Why? How did you know?
I just felt kind of just exhausted. I just didn't feel, and that's a tricky thing too,
It's so
because
tricky.
you want to push through that wuss in you. You want to push through. That's an important part of it. But because I've been doing it long enough, I have somewhat of a sense of when I'm just being a little bit lazy, which I can push through, and other times where I think like, you know what, it's been too many nights. I really need to sleep early. I need to get an early night in tonight.
Yeah, because there's different types of exhaustion. You know? Some is just like, don't want to, but I still can.
Yeah.
And some is like, if you keep pushing, you'll get sick.
Yes.
Or something like that. There's
Yeah.
other side effects coming.
Yeah, and I train fairly frequently. Like, I'm probably up to 4, sometimes 5 days a week. And I mean, does that help me become a better teacher, or does that? It doesn't. I mean, it might, but sometimes I have to step back and say, what am I doing? Like, why am I pushing myself to go this extra day? Sometimes.
What's the priority?
Yeah.
Another important point, priorities. Why are you training? It's an important thing to ask yourself all the time. I try to think of myself all the time, and sometimes it's not obvious. I don't know why we do this all the time, but some people, they train for a competition. Some people, they train for social. Some people train to lose weight. Some people train to get out of the house. And these are important things to be honest with yourself about. And this can inform your decisions when in these situations, right? So if Tahric has a competition coming up and he calls me, I'm a little tired, maybe I shouldn't go train. I'd say, hey man, there's a competition coming, you should get that training. If he's like right now, we have no competition coming up, he's in a new job, trying to figure things out, take a break. Job's kind of the priority right now. everything else is going well, it's okay, take a little break, rest up. Things like this really help the decision-making process.
Yes. So rest is always important. In all aspects of life, sometimes some rest is good. You also got to push. Pushing and resting, that is a tough balance that we are not going to be able to fully explain or inform you of what you need.
To fully explain, we can say sometimes there is yin and sometimes there is yang, and they come together. Oh, how's that?
Yes, we talked about this already. Strength and conditioning, important. We've already said that. Technique over strength.
Always. Technique number one.
Technique over strength, yes.
Always. For everybody, always.
Technique is over strength. I mean,
that's the priority.
that is the
Technique.
truth. That is the truth. But strength helps.
Also true.
Strength helps. Strength helps. Flexibility helps. All these things, any attribute that you have that can be used to your advantage will help you. So
But most important, technique.
yes.
Number one, always.
Technique is important. Yes.
Learn it mentally, practice it with your body. Most important.
Yeah. So focusing on the technique and focusing on doing it properly will also save your body. It will also save your body. Like muscling through techniques not only makes you a bad training partner because you're kind of just hurting people and not properly choking them, but you're also bringing you could also be bringing yourself like torn biceps, things like that. So there is injury that can come with muscling and gooning through some techniques.
And over flexibility stuff too. I've hurt myself just kind of getting lazy. For example, I play rubber guard. Instead of shrimping out or moving my hips or getting more space, just kind of more and more flexible. And this isn't good, this isn't how we should be playing. This isn't helpful. But sometimes you get lazy. Sometimes I haven't been drilling. And the only times I've hurt myself is being over flexible. It's unnecessary. It's not good.
So we said this, listen to your body. So me going home early that day, that was me listening to my body. Like I said, I've been doing this for a while, so I know when I'm being lazy and I could push through being lazy, but then there's some times where I say, I had already said that morning, like, wow, I need to get a little bit more sleep. But I still pack the gi and say, nope, you're going tonight. But then that night I said, you know what, let me listen to that earlier thought and go home because I really want to rest myself.
Yeah, that's a tricky decision.
Yes. Mental toughness.
Mental toughness is tricky.
Mental toughness is something that you do develop in jiu-jitsu. And I'm not talking about injury. So there are times where you're in a position where you're getting hurt. You should quit, you should tap in those positions. But there are also times when, let's say somebody is mounted on top of you and maybe they have like their belly in your face, especially with the gi, and you have like the friction on your face. Maybe they're grabbing the back of your head and there is no submission there. And there's times where you want to quit just because you're in horrible situations, but this mental toughness will develop. And especially if you've gone most of your life, or if you haven't competed in anything for a long time, just rolling and training in jiu-jitsu kind of brings back a little bit of that, okay, you know what, I can suffer a little bit. And that is something that I think is really good as you get older, because especially if you've been raising a family or you're doing things that are not really involving your body or involving any physical suffering, and jiu-jitsu involves physical suffering. Not just the injury aspect, but there is physical suffering. There's times when you're being outpaced by somebody and you're okay, I want to quit, and you look at the clock. Oh, can I last 2 more minutes? Yeah, I think I could last 2 more minutes, and then the round is over and you just And that feels good. It feels good that maybe you didn't win that round, but you lasted through it. And you lasted through it with a tougher opponent.
And then with a very important decision, you're in that moment, the round's up, now you gotta find someone else and keep rolling. And so this is a big thing when people are coming to my class and I'm figuring out what kind of person is this. Can they have a tough round? They get a break, and then do they pick another tough round? Can you lose and then jump right back into losing? And this is a very fine balance that people need to walk, right?
Yes, training through exhaustion and jumping right back in after defeat to a potential next defeat.
Yeah, or a guaranteed next defeat, right? Especially if you're starting out. You kind of have a good sense of like, I can't do anything to that guy, but I have to make myself available, right? Because there's always a weird game of eye contact when you're trying to find a new partner.
Don't make eye contact.
Like there's a tough brown belt, tough purple belt, tough blue belt. Like
don't look over there. Hold on, it's a little windy. Let me put the cigarette on. Yeah, sometimes you just don't make eye contact. Hold on. That mental toughness aspect. Sorry if you're hearing this. I'm just gonna put this windsock on these things. It's a little bit windy here.
Okay. It's a good time in the broadcast.
This is live, guys. This is live TV. Yeah, just suffering. So being able to suffer is for a middle-aged person, a middle-aged man. I can only speak for middle-aged men. It's something that it's good for you. I think it's good for you.
A safe amount of suffering.
A safe amount of suffering, a safe, controlled check to the ego to say I'm not what I thought I was, and I cannot do what I thought I could do, and that guy could do what I thought he couldn't do.
And ironically, through that process of learning what you can't do, you surprise yourself with things you can.
Yes.
You never knew. Oh, I'm great at triangle chokes. Who would have guessed?
Yes. So that is one of the things that I think it's great to get into, even as a middle-aged man. This is good. This is a good place to grow a little bit. Yeah. What else have we got here? So set realistic goals for yourself. Just like in any exercise program, you don't, let's say, I know weightlifting, so you're not just going to start off on the bench, put 2 plates on there, this is where I'm starting, and I'm going to 10 plates. Like, that's not realistic. You have to, your goals should be based, at least they should begin where you are. Your goals should start where you are. So if you're starting out as a white belt, you have poor flexibility, you are a little bit overweight, you're easily out of breath, you are going to start with goals as, let me just make it through this round.
That's a good one.
Yeah, let me make it through this round. Let me try to make it through this round and not get tapped. And then you can ramp it up to, this time I'm going to try to get on top, and so on and so on. You're not going to go in thinking, I'm going to beat these guys.
A classic one is people have come to my class and they tell me that their goal is to beat me. Like as coach, every class has a hierarchy, right? So in my class, the way it works out is top of the hierarchy, and then below me are other people. And I tell them, your goal shouldn't be to beat me. Your goal should be to beat the next beginner who walks through this door, right? Because if you're brand new to Jiu-Jitsu, for about 3 months, you're not gonna feel yourself improving, right? Because everyone with you is also improving and they've been there longer, right? So if you're there with a blue belt who's been there for 2 or 3 years, and you've been there for 0 years, 3 months later, you've been there for 3 months, they've been there for 2 or 3 years plus 3 months. Everybody's getting better. So what you compare yourself to is the next person who comes in, which is kind of analogous to your first day, right? If you could train with yourself on the first day, that'd be the best. That's the best comparison, but that's not really possible. Next closest thing is the next beginner who comes in. And sometimes it might take 3 months, 6 months, a year to get this opportunity. And that's really the only fair comparison.
Yeah. Also, with as we were mentioning about being a little bit older, a lot of gyms you'll have the young bucks that they're there every day. And if you're a guy that's coming
Can't compete
in
with
2
that.
times a week, 3 times a week, you're not going to necessarily compete with them, and you may even start off better than him, but you're not going to keep up. You're not going to keep up with his pace.
No.
Nor should you expect to. So, if you're an older person and you're working, you have other things going on, you should not expect to keep up or surpass somebody that's there every day. It's not a realistic expectation. And lastly, is you must just enjoy the journey. So there's going to be suffering, there's going to be small wins, there's going to be relative wins. You just do better than you did last time. There's going to be days that are horrible. Like there are days where you went in, it was great, you've had a great week, and then you come in today and you just get smoked, and everybody has your number, and you can't do anything.
Yeah. The phrase for this that jiu-jitsu guys like to say is sometimes you're the hammer, sometimes you're the nail. And one interesting thing that happens as you're beginning, everybody's kind of going easy on you, right? If you're in a good gym, a healthy gym, you show up as a beginner, nobody's going full speed, right? We're brown belts. If a white belt comes here, we're going to play, right? Same way if his son comes, I'm not going to choke that dude super hard. He's 5 years old. It's kind of analogous to a white belt coming. We just play. And then as you get better, we go harder on you. And so as soon as you start feeling good, now coach goes harder. You start feeling pretty good, people go harder. And this can get confusing because it's hard to tell how hard a higher belt's going on you. And this cycle of little wins and big defeats, this is the hero's journey. Every movie is a guy has a goal and meets obstacles and rises above and keeps going. That's every story that we're into, right? So this is why we can embrace the journey, because that's the only way. If you show up and you're just good, like that's not a good story. If you show up and you just suck forever, that's not a good story either. So jiu-jitsu really encapsulates this. You show up, you learn something, you try, you fail, you try, you fail, little success, big fail, and you keep going forever.
Yes, and sometimes it's hard to enjoy in the moment because there is suffering. But on like a macro scale, when you look at what you've been doing or what you are doing, you should find some enjoyment in it. Otherwise, maybe you should do something else.
There should be some enjoyment involved.
You should enjoy it. Yeah, you should enjoy it. So, for you middle-aged people, is jiu-jitsu for you? Maybe it's something to try. Something that I see a lot of middle-aged men and women start up in the gym, and they seem to really, really get into it. So you just have to, if you're willing to suffer a little bit, if you're willing to let your ego die, then it should be good.
Yeah, die and be reborn. It's not just one time.
It'll be killed a lot.
Who am I? I forgot.
Your ego will be crushed a lot. So
yeah.
Cool.
We shout out a rubber guard workshop.
Yep.
Upcoming. Taipei, October 14th. I'm teaching rubber guard. There's a big misconception. The rubber guard's only for flexible people. That is not how I teach it. So if we can show a little bit of what I'll be teaching.
Sure.
And as a little example, I'd like Tahric, can you sit like this for us, just so everybody can see?
No, even this is I could do this for a while, and then I have to go here.
Exactly. So this is lack of flexibility. I'm not a good example because I am incredibly flexible, right? This is what people think you need for rubber guard. So I will do a move, and then Tahric will do the same move, and just to show that the way I teach rubber guard is for everybody, okay?
Rubber guard for everybody. Let's take off these mics. I'm gonna put a mic here. You can put it in the other corner.
Okay.
Live. Oh man, all that sitting.
Okay. So this is rubber guard entry from standing. We can't really see.
Let me
but
fuck this up a little bit more.
Yeah, it's okay. Because this is sneak preview, this is not the whole technique. So we're on up pommeling, and you get underhook. We come in, pull down to guard. Everybody can do this. From here, we get our leg out, and our knee up. This is not big flexibility. As you can see, Tahric can do it as well. I go underhook. He pulls butterfly guard. His knee is up. He's in very good rubber guard position. How easy. Everybody, come. October 14th, Taipei.
All right. Roll it.
Sure. Now we can roll. Got about 2 minutes. Old man didn't warm up, huh?
Yeah.
Gonna roll 5 minutes.
Okay.
And I gotta go.
Or we could just stop.
Rolling 5 minutes. Os. Old man warm up room. Whoosh. Starting a live stream, bro? Oh, saved by the bell. Thank you. Os. That's time. Thanks for watching. Taipei BJJ, Marshall Stamper, Tahric Finn, backpack director. Os.